Hey everybody, this is BMS, and with me is...
Arsenics.
That's right, and this is Let's Play Castlevania, Lords of Shadow. Basically, to start things off with, this is a complete reboot of the Castlevania series, so I don't know if you're familiar at all with the previous installments. Are you, Arsenics?
What the hell were those? Were those supposed to be bats?
I think so. Bats with top hats. It's a Spanish game developer company, okay?
Oh, okay.
You have to cut them some slack here and there.
Sure.
But you've never played any of the Lords of Shadow series, have you?
I have not. This is my first impressions of it.
Okay, yeah, and that's basically how this is going to work. I'm, of course, going to be the one playing it. I've been through this again. This is actually one of my favorite Castlevania series. But Arsenics is going to be completely new to the series, so hopefully we'll get both sides of the spectrum on this.
I've had bad experiences with 3D Castlevania, so I didn't bother picking this up, so looking forward to it.
Yeah, that was a big stigma with this. Most of the 3D Castlevanias have been received very, very badly. Probably the most notorious of the two would be the ones for the 64.
A storm is coming. Mankind faces
also, as low budget as this is for one of the new generation consoles, which back in 2011 the PS3 was still new, it has surprisingly top-notch voice talent.
Can change our destinies forever.
Yeah, I was going to say this voiceover is really good.
Patrick Stewart, Robert Carlyle, Natasha McElhorn, I think is how you pronounce her name, and Jason Isaacs, just to name a few. So basically they blew their entire budget on the VA, I think.
I don't know, it seemed like they spent a lot of money on that press start button prompt.
Yes, that's going to show up a lot. This is, the game, the way that this is set up, basically, the first two stages here that we're going to be going through are your tutorial segments, so it's very, very hand-holding. But I can kind of overlook that. I mean, it's not a big part of the game, and it's not obnoxious, so I can kind of deal with the hand-holdiness on it.
So what's the plot synopsis? I didn't really pay attention to most of that.
Well, that's kind of the thing, and it's one of the things that this game gets ragged on, and a little bit rightly so for it. It basically just throws you into the middle of stuff, and all the introduction here that Patrick Stewart is reading off to you doesn't really fill you in on anything. You don't actually understand what's going on until, like, the third level, at the end of the third level, mind you. And so we'll basically just kind of avoid all the plot details. Needless to say, like I mentioned before, it's a complete reboot of the series. So it's not part of the original timeline. All of that is just completely... it never happened, basically.
Okay. That's interesting. I'm not sure how to feel about that. At least not yet.
Well, I think it works out pretty good. They do name drop a lot. I mean, you still have the main characters of Belmont, for example. Dracula is not in this game, but that will be expanded upon later on. But like I say, name drops, area locations, is basically the only relation they have to the old series that makes it Castlevania is the various names.
Is this a crossover to Oregon Trail? What's going on?
Really? Yes, when I say reboot, they rebooted everything. It's aside from the story, you've got the enemy designs, which are completely different. The main character designs, no more. IGA had no involvement with this series, basically. They took it out of his hands and put it into the hands of Mercury Steam.
Speaking of, IGA recently left Konami, right?
Yes, it is, and I don't know. Some people say it's a bad thing. Some people say it's good. I lean more towards the good part of that. One thing I will say about this game, and as much hate as it gets for like the storyline and everything, and even the gameplay, the visuals on it are amazing.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it certainly looks impressive, more than anything else.
Yes, it is, and it's, for instance, here. I mean, just look at the. I don't know, for Mercury Steam, which they had some other good games that they worked on in the past, but still, this is very good, and it was rare to see this kind of quality on the PS3.
Wow, we're really just jumping right in, aren't we?
Yes, like I said, it throws you right into the middle of it here. One of the things that this game also gets kind of ragged on for is that the combat system looks very familiar to God of War. Which it is, and I mean, I don't personally see that as a bad thing. It works fluid enough. I mean, it's a solid system, and there's enough to make it different that it's not an exact clone or anything like that. So I think it works, but you've got a lot of the diehard fans of the old Castlevania series that immediately got turned off from it just because of that.
Well, one complaint I have heard a lot about was QuickTime events. Are those going to play a factor?
Yes, they are, which that's kind of actually interesting. When Mercury Steam started this, they didn't want any QuickTime events whatsoever in this game. Because, people didn't really like them. Well, by the end of development, it's full of them. And some of them are pretty fucking obnoxious, too, in a really bad way.
Oh, I can't wait to see those.
Well, imagine a QuickTime event. You've got your button prompt on there. Just imagine the button prompt being interrupted and moving all over the camera while having a shaky cam effect going on.
Like this?
Yes, this is an example of the QuickTime event. Extremely slowed down, basically. And it's fairly simple to see how it works. You wait till the outer circle gets within the inner one. And if you press it too soon, well, then you fuck up the QuickTime event. Most of these are done sparingly during actual gameplay. They're mostly used during cutscenes. The QuickTime events during gameplay, if you screw them up, usually what happens is you lose a lot of health.
Is the combat ever going to change from wide area of effect attacks that the enemies can't seem to dodge at all?
Yeah, as you go on, you see right now, as you kill enemies, you get experience and you can unlock different moves and whatnot. Basically, the way the combat system is set up, you have your direct attacks, which do a lot of damage, and you have your wide area attacks. You can expand upon these, get new ones, but that's basically the rudimentary system of it.
I like how that throw move was called grab and interact. Not just tossing them down to the earth or anything, just grab and interact with the werewolf, it's fine.
Of course. And some enemies you can just walk up to and grab them straight away. Others you have to damage them enough before you can actually use that, which, actually this is another part of the game that I really like, the book here that we're looking at. It's got all the detailed explanations of everything, and all the moves that you can buy. It also gives that nice little hand-drawn example of it. And I'm showing this off here. All this information will be posted in the thread, but this is basically just what your item screen looks like.
I'm still not entirely sure what's going on story-wise. I guess it doesn't really matter.
You're not supposed to. Like I say, it just throws you in with little explanation. We really don't find out the plot or even for the most part who this guy is and what his motivation is until the end of the third episode, which, once again, that's one of the things that this game gets really ragged on for.
Well, to be fair, Castlevania's never really been much about the story.
That's true, which you have to take that into account. I mean, as gameplay-wise, I think it's a very solid game. It's just, story-wise, it just throws you right into the middle of shit and gives you little to no explanation as to why we're here beating the shit out of a bunch of werewolves.
Well, hey, let's not forget the first Castlevania, where you just stroll into a castle gate and you have no idea why.
That's true. Also, it's our introduction to a different type of QuickTime event, the button mash. Oh yeah. Don't you just love those?
No, I don't.
Those aren't used as much in this game. There are a few, as with this one right here, mostly during boss fights and whatnot, but they're used sparingly, so I can deal with that.
Man, they're really spelling out all the mechanics for you here.
They do. When I said that this game holds your hand, it does. The first two stages are basically just a tutorial, and it details everything.
With giant text, no less.
Yes.
It's like, hey, idiot, quick recover, stop getting hit.
Interesting thing is that you may have noticed that when you hit an enemy with a normal attack, it will stun them. If they're in an attack animation, right there, basically it won't stun them anymore and you'll have to block or whatever. But for the most part, you can just keep hitting on them repeatedly and they'll never be able to attack you. Now, if you'll notice his life bar there, this is going to be an interesting mechanic later on. It turned from that orange to this white color here. Whenever the boss's health is in white, that means that they're regenerating, and generally they're pretty much invulnerable while they're doing that. And something that's not really explained to you, except for just a split second there, you see how that pole is glowing now? Any object that's glowing like that, you can interact by grabbing it.
Does that mean, in theory, you can use that pole and smash the wolf thing upside the head?
In theory, yes, which is actually what you're supposed to do, because otherwise he'll just regenerate his health and do this right here.
Are you serious?
I am, and it will go on forever unless you do this. Which we'll see right now. The proper execution of the highlighted pole grab.
Why not just let you equip the club stick thing automatically?
Oh, because it's not a weapon that you use. You just do that right there. It's an interactable object, man. Come on.
That usually means you do something with it. You don't stand there.
Well, we did something. We initiated a cutscene. Come on. That stick was a relevant plot device.
Stick, you were the true slayer of Dracula.
Yeah, exactly. Also, I like how the main character is about, 2 feet taller than everybody else? We have stumbled upon a village of midgets. No wonder the Lycans attacked.
Oh, did he put away his torch?
Yeah, he switched it out for that fucked up pitchfork there.
They sent you?
Once again, all this stuff that they're talking about makes absolute no sense right now, but it will, trust me. You just have to play, about 3 chapters into the game.
If you say so.
Speaking of which, one thing that I'm surprised, have you noticed the weapon that we're using here?
I was assuming it was some weird version of the Vampire Slayer, but I guess not?
Well, it's still called the Vampire Killer. It's that giant cross that we're carrying around with us.
I called it Vampire Slayer, didn't I?
You did.
I've lost my Castlevania cred.
And you say you're a fan of the old series. What the hell, Arsenix? I mean, I know I wanted a fresh perspective, but come on, man. Also, to point out here, at the end of every little subchapter, you're greeted with this right here. Basically, your I guess, stats screen or whatnot.
I don't see anything else you could have done different in that level. I'm guessing there's, secret stuff you can find.
There is. Throughout most of the levels, there are, secret, item upgrades and everything that you can locate. And you can replay these at any time throughout the games.
Okay.
Also, when you beat a level, it will unlock a trial for that level, which basically gives you certain objectives that you have to accomplish during the stage.
What's the first level's trial, then?
You have to beat it, and beat the giant warg, while having, I think, at least one of the villagers still alive. It's pretty easy, but they get very, very difficult by the end of the game. Of course, you don't get anything for actually doing the trials, except for, trophy cred, but if you're an achievement whore, then, well, this game's for you.
Gotta max out my gamer score, yo!
Tomorrow he will use the old hunting path.
And this is another part in the story where it gets really, really disjointed here, is this next area here, which I'll go ahead and explain what's going to go on. Basically, this is your introduction to mounts that you can get, horse riding and whatnot. But it's just, the way the story introduces it is really, really odd and offbeat.
Exposing him to defeat.
I'm really looking forward to see how this guy acquires a horse or something.
It's not in the way you'll expect, let's put it that way.
What the hell?
The answer is love.
I'm in love with this ghost lady, yo.
See, and that's the thing. All of this is really setting up for the actual plot. It's like a subplot to set up the actual plot, if that makes sense.
What's up with her face?
Well, as good as this game looks, they had to sacrifice somewhere. But man, did you see those hills in the opening cutscene? That's where all the detail went.
Certainly didn't go towards her face.
And just wait for it. Yes, this is where the plot gets kind of another minor sticking point here.
I was gonna say, it's raining non-stop in this world. What? Where did this World of Warcraft amount come from?
But we must be quick.
What the fuck?
Also, yeah, that's basically it. You get some kind of a World of Warcraft horse pop up, say, hey, I'll take you where you want to go, jump up.
Like the horse is literally talking to him.
And also, I want to point out, what other Castlevania game has werewolves riding werewolves?
This is wackier than I was expecting it to be.
This game is it's throwing out all the stops here, And the thing of it is that it's stated by David Cox, who was with Mercury Steam, that they took a big cue on designing this from Guillermo del Toro. So that's where a lot of this comes from.
Wow, there's a lot of quick time events already.
There are. One interesting thing that they did here that I'll point out is that each of these great wargs that you see here, that you get a little cutscene when you go and stab it on there. For each one that you do this, the animation is different, so it's not just the same animation over again. So there's a lot of like minor detail that went into this.
Oh no!
And they can even jump on you.
Isn't that supposed to mean you're supposed to turn into a werewolf?
Shh. And
wow.
There's a couple of spots here where you're forced to get knocked off of the mythical horse there. And you have to beat the shit out of a couple more Lycans.
You say forced to, but I'm just going to pretend it was just from his own incompetence.
Really, that's what it was. I mean, come on. And what I tried to show off there, but I got interrupted here with the introduction of the perfect block there, was throughout the various levels you'll see these soldiers that glow. These are where you get your upgrades from, like your life upgrades and various lore that's laying around. It'll enhance the story if you want to bother to pick it up.
Well, I prefer something over nothing, I guess.
Of course, this is no story upgrade here. This is just a life gem, which the way that the gems work is that there's 30 total, and for every 5 it will increase your life or the certain extra weapons that we get in the next few levels.
Have you shown off the daggers? I've noticed that you've collected as many as you can carry.
Yes, I have. I did that in the opening level. Basically, the daggers, you have very certain sub-weapons here. Werewolves, these minor Lycans here, one dagger will destroy them, basically. They're useful against these guys. Also, plus, as a cutscene device, it's completely amazing.
That guy was just wanting to see you mount your horse in a stylish manner. That was completely unnecessary.
Gabriel Belmont takes no prisoners. Also, it should be noted that even if the wolves jump on you like that, it doesn't actually damage you, even though they bite you, which I don't really understand, but okay.
Quick time mechanics.
It is. However, you may have noticed that the big wargs knocked me off there, which will instigate a quick time event. If you fail that quick time event, look at my health now. Yeah. That's the gimmick with quick time events in this game. If you fuck one up, you pay a heavy health price, basically.
That's kind of ridiculous.
Especially on a game like this, because the thing of it is that this segment right here is unavoidable anyway. Even if you don't fail the quick time event and you destroy the little Lycan riding Lycans there, you still get hit by like another branch and fall off. And you have to go through this anyway.
So what's the point then? Just have the enemies do actual damage.
It's plot device, I guess? I don't know.
It speeds it up, I guess.
We need to get David Cox in here. Yes, exactly. It's a speedrun strat. Fuck up the quick time event.
Take damage to save time, just like in Ninja Gaiden.
Also, these wargs, it's like this big one that I'm fighting here. If you damage it enough, it will start to glow without actually dying, and you can mount it instead, and you can ride the warg around and attack shit, which will be shown off later on.
Okay.
There's a lot of different mounts in this game. The horse is actually, this is the only level that we actually get to ride an actual horse.
So we're never going to see this Warcraft horse ever again? I don't know what to call it.
The Warcraft horse vanishes without a trace, basically, after this level.
What a convenient plot device!
It is, really. It's explained later on, of course, just like everything else, but as of right now, we're riding a mythical horse, because we can. We're Gabriel Belmont. Fuck yeah.
Are we playing one of those horse racing games? Where one of those endless runners? You just ride on a horse and see how far you can get?
It would seem like it. I will say this. Well, I've said this before, but I really love the cutscenes in this game. They're really well done, actually. Of course, maybe, except for this. Because it's completely necessary to have a close-up of this guy's face while he walks the map.
You didn't really do anything, dude. You killed a few werewolves. Good job.
Well, he's got to be proud of something. I mean, come on. And that's that. Yeah. So what do you think so far, Arsenics? Are you impressed?
I guess the word would be intrigued.
I'll go with that. Now remember now, of course, once you understand the plot of this, it will expand ever so much on your knowledge of this, alright?
I'll take your word for it, dude.
Just trust me on this, and don't believe a word in the thread, because apparently the last LP of it, I believe Coolest did it back in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody on Something Awful seemed to hate this game, for whatever reason. Well, I say fuck you. I like it, and I'm going to stick to it.
Don't you like Castlevania 64 as well?
Well, yeah, I liked Castlevania 64, but don't let that, you know... Is that supposed to mean something?
Maybe.
Sure. I hope you all enjoyed. I'm going to try to get this updated about once a week or so. We'll see you next time. Arsenics, appreciate you joining me for this, man.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm sure it's going to be quite an adventure.
You could say after that last chapter, we're in for a wild ride.
Wow.